But my mother's therapist said, if you try to, you know, tear her away from him, it'll just become more, and if you just let it go, it'll just be a whim and she'll get over it. In spite of herself, she really did like him, and in later years, they got really close. This is the first present, actually, that Sonny ever gave me, and it was a ring that had emerald crystals. And I thought it was the crown jewels. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And I actually never took it off. I put it on, and after that, I really didn't take it off. When I met Son, he was working at a record distributor, and he landed Phil Spector as a client for the company. And Philip was huge at that time. I mean, Philip was like the wonder boy. So one day, Son called, and he said, I'm leaving the office. I'm going to come by and honk, lean out the window. So I went to the window, and I saw Son, and instead of being in his Monza, he was in a car just like this Cadillac here, and he was sitting there. He had his arm sticking out of the driver's side, you know, and he looked up at me and he went, "Hey, Cher," like that. And he was so thrilled, and I knew that this was more than a car for him. This was a symbol that his luck was starting to change. So Son went from promoting records for Phil Spector to becoming his right-hand man. He loved the business so much, and he wanted to learn everything that he could learn about producing from Philip. In a short time, he went from getting coffee to playing percussion to singing backup. The first time I was ever in a studio, and it was at Gold Star, Studio A, and I was 16 years old. I was waiting with Son. Phil Spector was a producer, and one of the girls got a flat tire, and so Philip said, you know, Sonny says you can sing, just get in there. And I was terrified. I mean, I was absolutely terrified. I was trying to qualify, like, what I thought my singing potential was, and he said, look, I just need some noise, just get in there. We sang background for a year, and then Son decided that we should just go out on our own and sing.
Until I met her, it sounds very corny, but something came together when we came together.
And what was it that he gave you?
He said, you can sing. You can sing. And I got up and sang. Sonny had this cute little Caesar-style haircut, and he thought that I looked like Cleopatra, so we started singing as Caesar and Cleo. We played bowling alleys and roller skating rinks, but Caesar and Cleo were short-lived because once we went to a gig in Oakland, and on the way there, the airlines lost our luggage. And so we decided to go on in our street clothes. Sonny wore his bobcat, I wore my bell-bottom, and the kids went crazy. And that night, I guess, was the night we decided to be ourselves, Sonny and Cher.
Should have killed.
What am I supposed to weigh according to my height?
110.
Look under men, Cher.
They don't have your height under men. These are some of the costumes that Son and I wore on our show, but in the beginning, we made our own clothes. I would draw up the design, and I'd buy the material, and then these two girls who lived in our basement would sew them up for us. I actually had the idea for this design in a dream. And then one day, Son and I were driving down the street, and I saw this fur blowing in the wind. And I said, Son, back up. And this bobcat vest became his signature look.
The way we dress, they like the fact that we wear colorful clothes, and we do too. You know, that's us, and that was really us.
Clothes definitely helped us get noticed. When we went to London for the first time, I wore my very best creation, a salute to the Union Jack, I call this outfit. But unfortunately, it got us kicked out of the London Hilton. Well, not exactly kicked out, they just refused to let us in. But we got a huge amount of publicity out of it. We made headlines, and our record went to #1. In our daily life, we started dressing in this very eclectic way. But you also have to realize that nobody dressed like that. I mean, the Beatles were in the little hairdos and little round collared jackets, and everyone was very neat. It was Doris Day.